just blunted in Las Vegas. The Raiders are about to make a move no one saw coming, and at the same time, a star player could be out with a life-threatening injury. Things are heating up behind the scenes, and I've got exclusive information on all of this. So like and subscribe now, because what I'm about to reveal will leave any fan speechless. Just when the Raiders suggested things couldn't get any more chaotic, trade rumors, locker room tension, and mounting pressure, disaster struck Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. Just as it shocked Raider Nation, star edge rusher Max Crosby, the emotional and physical heart of the Las Vegas defense, suffered an injury that left the entire stadium silent. Early in the second quarter, Crosby was seen limping toward the sideline before collapsing on the bench, visibly frustrated. The team's coaches immediately surrounded him, and according to CBS reports, the 2025 Pro Bowler was dealing with knee and back issues. The back issue wasn't new. He had been listed as limited in practice earlier in the week, but the knee surgery was recent, having occurred during a collision with Chiefs tight end Noah Gray. The blow twisted his left knee awkwardly, and although Crosby initially tried to walk back to his feet, it quickly became clear something was wrong. After being examined by team doctors, the Raiders were officially listed as questionable to return. But sources close to the situation say the chances of seeing Crosby back on the field that day were slim to none. Before leaving, the relentless pass rusher recorded 3 tackles, 1 solo, bringing his season total to 28 tackles and 4 sacks, both leading in the season. His impact, however, goes far beyond statistics. Crosby's intensity and leadership set the tone for the entire locker room, and losing him, even temporarily, could be a major emotional and tactical blow. This injury couldn't have come at a worse time. The Raiders' defense was already burdened by inconsistency and may now be forced to finish games without its defensive captain. If Crosby is sidelined for several weeks, the burden will fall on 2 young players, Tyree Wilson and Charles Snowden. Wilson, a former first-round pick, showed promise with his size and athleticism, but still struggles with discipline and play recognition. Snowden, meanwhile, is an inexperienced player trying to prove his worth in the league. Both will now face one of the toughest roles in football, replacing a star. And the challenge doesn't end there. Coach Pete Carroll, who brought his energy and defensive skills to Las Vegas earlier this year, now faces a true test of adaptability. Without Crosby commanding double teams, the Raiders' defensive scheme will require a complete recalibration. Opposing quarterbacks will feel the instant absence, and unless Vegas finds a way to generate pressure from other sides, their secondary could be more exposed than ever. But perhaps the biggest concern isn't just Crosby's health, it's the timing. This injury comes amid growing trade speculation surrounding wide receiver Jacobe Meyers. If the Raiders decide to move Meyers to acquire defensive help, Crosby's status could directly influence that decision. A healthy Crosby gives the front office some flexibility to trade for sensitive assets or future draft picks. But if their defensive leader is sidelined, the team may suddenly have no choice but to shift its focus from trades to securing an emergency pass rusher or defensive line depth. For Raider Nation, it's a gut punch and a reminder of how fragile this season has become. A week ago, fans debated whether the Raiders could still make a name for themselves in the AFC West. Now, with their star quarterback injured and their leading receiver potentially on the way out, the franchise finds itself at a crossroads. Should they strive to remain competitive or begin reshaping the roster for the future? Crosby's recovery timetable remains uncertain, and the team is expected to conduct further evaluations early this week. Sources say the Raiders are hopeful it's nothing more than a minor sprain, but no one has ruled out the possibility of missed games. What's clear is that without Crosby's energy, enthusiasm, and leadership, this defense will be very different and far less intimidating. But while the behind-the-scenes chatter heats up in Vegas, news from the field has everyone on alert. Pressure is mounting inside the Raiders' facilities, and tension is starting to get electric. According to reports from Pro Football Rumors and insider Diana Rossini, Las Vegas is now open to moving wide receiver Jacobe Meyers, a decision that could send shockwaves through the NFL. For a team already on shaky ground after another frustrating loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, this potential trade marks a turning point in the franchise's direction. Meyers, who will turn 29 just days after the trade deadline, has quietly been one of the Raiders' most reliable weapons. His reliability, precise routes, steady hands, and over 1,000 receiving yards last season made him a favorite among quarterbacks and coaches. But behind the scenes, frustration is growing. Sources close to the team confirmed there was no progress on a contract extension, and after months of uncertainty, Meyers reportedly requested a trade before the start of the season. At the time, Vegas wasn't ready to let him go. But now, with a 2-4 record and out of playoff contention, things seem to be back on track. Contenders have repeatedly expressed interest in Meyers, considering him a veteran target who can immediately elevate their offense. Playoff contenders, especially those in need of a reliable WR2 option, are eyeing Las Vegas as the November 4th trade deadline approaches. For any time you're buying a title, Meyers' $10.5 million base salary for 2025 could be seen as a fair value for a player with his production, especially if they plan to sign him beyond this season. Meanwhile, the Raiders front office, led by head coach Pete Carroll and general manager John Spytek, appears to be approaching this deadline with an open mind and phones buzzing. The organization isn't just looking to sell, it's also looking for defensive help. According to Rossini, Las Vegas has expressed interest in adding depth at cornerback and the defensive line rotation. One intriguing name linked to Las Vegas is Seahawks cornerback Tariq Woolen, which could mark a fascinating reunion between Woolen and Carroll, whom he coached during his early years in Seattle. Statistically, the Raiders' defense demonstrates an imbalance. The team currently ranks 19th in the NFL in some accessible areas, a glaring weakness that has led to crucial runs in recent matchups. However, against the run, Vegas has been much more effective, ranking among the league's top 10. This defensive divide has shaped the Raiders' trade strategy. Rebuilding the second is now the top priority. With approximately $7.5 million in salary cap space, the team has enough flexibility to absorb a modest defensive contract before the deadline. Still, trading Meyers carries serious risks. While it could bring draft capital benefits or a defensive starter, it would also deprive the offense of one of its most reliable playmakers, especially with the younger receivers still struggling to adapt to Carroll's offensive system. Losing Meyers could leave quarterback Aiden O'Connell, or anyone looking to start moving forward, with fewer solid options and make the Raiders' offense even more predictable. Inside the locker room, uncertainty is palpable. Players understand that a season of trades can change everything overnight: friendships, chemistry, and rhythm. Meyers has been a quiet leader and a stabilizing presence, and his departure would send a strong message that the front office is prioritizing long-term tenure over short-term success. However, for some fans, this is exactly what the times require: a complete rebuild, new draft picks, and a defensive foundation capable of winning close games. The truth is, this decision defines the Raiders' identity. Are they trying to bounce back and pursue a promising run in the AFC West playoffs, or are they finally accepting that it's time to rebuild under Pete Carroll and start preparing for 2026? Leave your opinion here, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Raiders news.